The first thing I want to know, what is one thing about socialism that Americans think they know, but they really don't know?
I think the main thing that Americans have misunderstood with socialism is that we're not after anybody's private property. Everybody always thinks, we're after their homes and their houses. And the fact is that we think everybody deserves the right to their own home and their own house, their own place to live in. If you're a working person, if you're putting in 40 hours of work a week or whatever it is, you deserve a right to a house. But the fact is that in this country, some of the most hardworking people that are working 60 hours a week, don't have a home. Some of the hardest working people, they don't have health care. They don't have education. And we want to flip that. We want to make sure that the hardest working people deserve, the best. And the people that don't work, the people that are up on Wall Street that just sit back and eat off of our work, those are the people that should be working. And the only people that shouldn't be working are the sick, the elderly, and the young. Everybody else should be working, and everybody else deserves the benefits of that work.
There are 47% of the people who will vote for the president no matter what. All right, there are 47% who are with him, who are dependent upon government, who believe that they are victims, who believe that government has a responsibility to care for them, who believe that they're entitled to health care, to food, to housing, to you name it. It's an entitlement, and the government should give it to them.
In your mind, who is the 47%?
The 47% is the people that are excluded from these elections, really. There are right now 148 million people in this country that are either below the poverty line or right around the poverty line. And the poverty line is considered $23,000 a year for a family of four. Meaning if you have a family of four and you're making $24,000 a year, you aren't considered poor in this country, which we know is a very tough thing to live off of $24,000 a year. So that 47%, unfortunately, both the Democrats and the Republicans are not, they're not putting forth a program to help out that 47%. We have the Republicans who just straight up don't give a damn, as Romney has made it obviously clear that it's not his job to worry about the 47%, but how about the Democrats who have already promised to put Social Security and Medicare on the table to get cut? And of course we understand that 47% is a majority women, it's a majority black people, majority Latinos, minorities. So we have a real problem with race as well in this country, and that's where the 47% is.
And a lot of the posters and a lot of campaign literature for the PSL, seize the banks. Would that be day one, minute one in the Yari Osorio administration?
Yes, seize the banks is basically what our whole program rests on. Point number one of our program is making a job a constitutional right, and not just any job, but we mean like a career, a job with union wages and benefits where you see yourself advancing and working somewhere that you're passionate about. But that can't happen if we leave the wealth that we created in the hands of the banks. Now the banks, New York Times reported recently, they have $8.9 trillion that they, quote unquote, don't know what to do with. Because in capitalism, banks are allowed to sit on that money if they have nowhere profitable to invest in. The same way that factories and corporations only hire people if it's profitable to them. And that's a basic law under capitalism. You don't hire people unless it's profitable for you. But under socialism, we hire people if there's something to do. We under socialism, we would see an increase in teachers, an increase in scientists, an increase in philosophers, musicians, artists, because these are the vital things that we should be really pouring money into. Not pouring money into war, not pouring money into derivatives or flipping financial instruments and stuff like that. So under socialism, we would see a radical change in the way society is organized, basically.
What would American socialism look like?
I think coming from New York City, one of the most diverse places in the world, I think we are ripe for socialism. America is such a diverse place where, as much as people want to say we're a racist society, and we do have a lot of racism, we're also actually an illustration of how people of different races, different cultures, different religions can actually get along and work together. I come from Queens, New York, the most culturally diverse place in the world. And we see the fruits of socialism there. We understand we have a transportation system, public transportation system. That's what socialism would look like. Socialism would be, that's why we put a young woman on the ballot for president, because we understand that the working class of this country is mainly women. That's why myself being an immigrant, I was chosen to run for vice president because we see ourselves not just as Americans, but as part of a broader international working class. We see ourselves reflective in the people of Afghanistan and Iraq.
By some stretch, you guys have to win. There have to be a lot of constitutional changes for you to assume office. Because after all,
Right.
you're both under 35. You were born in Colombia. How do you answer to those who immediately say, why should I take the PSL seriously? If you guys, by some stretch, you guys won, constitutionally, you couldn't serve.
Right.
So why are you running?
Well, we did that with a very intentionally. We decided to run people that were under 35 and technically under the Constitution are not allowed to take office. We're allowed to run, and our campaign, our names will be on the ballot in 13 states across the country. But we did it with a very serious purpose because it's young people that are suffering around the world this crisis of austerity. We've seen, for instance, the student movements around the world and how young people have gone into action and fought against their governments, not just in Canada. We heard about the student strike in Canada, but in my home country of Colombia, huge student movement. Puerto Rico, student movement. Mexico, now we see a student movement. In the UK, another student movement growing up. So it's really young people that are bearing the brunt of this economic crisis, and it's really young people that hold the key to solving the economic crisis. That's why you saw Occupy Wall Street. That's why we see, for instance, why is it that it's young people dying in these wars all across the world, but it's older people that are sending us to wars. So we need a new breed, a new generation. We want to inspire that new generation of activists to become politically involved, to become, mouthpieces for our class, for our neighborhoods, and that's what we need more. Socialism is not something that's foreign to America. Socialism has been here ever since the working class has been here in America. So as far as selling socialism to our class, I think our class is ready for something different. I don't think we have to sell that hard. We just have to prove to people that all we have to do is stand up, that we already have the power. We already hold the keys to this whole economy in our hands. We're the people that make this country run, this city run. We just have to start realizing that it's really that simple, and then work for political power, organize ourselves as a class instead of I'm a black person, I'm a gay person. Let's unite and let's overthrow these people that are separating us.